Hey guys, welcome to Into the Wormhole with Larissa and Lauren. I'm Lauren Lowen, and with me is Captain
Larissa Maestro. Hey.
Hey Larissa.
Hey Lauren.
Do you remember that time we talked with Damon and DJ about Star Trek on their podcast called Your Inner Child is an Idiot?
Oh my God. It was great. I really want to I want to find out if we were idiots.
I know. Well, what's even more great is that we have part 2. So shall we get into it?
Let's do it. Let's go.
Previously on Your Inner Child is an Idiot.
Very, very special guests today. We have Lauren and Larissa from Into the Wormhole. Welcome, you guys.
Lock phasers. Fire on my command. Fire.
Like, he rips out his arm. I was like, dude, consent. You can't just rip out people's forearms.
Do all of the colors of the shirts mean something specific?
Oh. I don't know if I have a soul. I don't know if anyone does. Like, I think it's cool that they put that in there as like a question that is still posed in hundreds of years. I also want to say just Picard, just Patrick Stewart in this episode. It's like skinny little beautiful Patrick Stewart, beautiful storytelling, and just Patrick Stewart just nailing it.
As you may have figured out, this is part 2 of our Star Trek The Next Generation episode, along with our friends from Into the Wormhole with Larissa and Lauren. We decided the episode was too big, so we split it into 2 episodes. So this is episode 2. So if you haven't listened to episode 1, you are going to be really confused. So check out episode 1, and here's episode 2.
Welcome back to the show. I have more Wesley questions.
Thank God.
Go for it.
How the fuck old is Wesley at this point? He's driving the goddamn ship around?
So he's been to the academy now, right?
I have to think about this because, remember he's supposed to be picked up and then...
Oh, and then they don't pick up because he gets into the academy and they don't... Yeah, and then they're like...
He misses his ride, basically.
Yeah.
He misses his... Beverly didn't pick him up from soccer practice.
Oh, Wesley.
And Picard says, I'm sure you guys get like Wesley's supposed to be like a boy genius, but Picard then I know
the impression I was supposed to get.
In season 1 it's very Wesley heavy.
Yes,
that is not what came across.
He gives him like a field commission or something?
Yeah,
right?
He makes him like he's not an officially I forget, like acting ensign. I don't know what to call it, but he basically gets like a pip.
He's an intern. He gets coffee.
Yeah.
He can fly it sometimes when Geordi's on break.
Yeah, he has a driver's permit, basically. Like
only if Data's in the other chair.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think he's probably supposed to be like 17 at this point, maybe, or 18.
Because not everyone goes to the academy, right? Like not everyone goes. Like, you know.
Wait, some people just get the keys and that's it.
It's like the real military, like the U.S. military.
Yeah,
if you have a degree, you come in as an officer as opposed to. I mean, you have to go through training, but like you don't go through the whole thing.
Yeah, like
right?
O'Brien.
I don't know. I'm not in the military.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there are non-commissioned officers, and there are.
Right. Yes. Thank you. I knew I had a kernel of truth in there somewhere.
Yeah, you did.
And then you shoot the zombies as they attack from the Middle East, which is where all the bad guys are. So it's great.
Yeah,
Case
all
closed.
of them in one place. It's so great that they're all in one place.
I know. I appreciate you guys congregating.
Yeah.
And it's right where that oil is.
Coincidentally, this thing that I want real bad. Gimme.
I want to know how you guys feel about the how Riker maneuvers around Picard giving all his knowledge to the Borg, and then how you feel about the getting him back and the how they shut them down. like second half,
the whole
basically.
second episode, basically.
Yeah. How do you feel about season 4, episode 1?
I'll be honest, I was a little fuzzy on what the plan was and what the faux plan was. It was a little Ocean's 11 without the charm, where I was like, wait, what's going on? I was a little annoyed by the rescue mission because it was like they had set up this idea that the Borg constantly are adapting, but I guess if you just leave them alone, they de-adapt because they were just able to shoot them once again, just like normal.
They had a rotating phaser frequency by that point.
Oh, yes. Okay.
There was like one sentence. So if you missed that one sentence, but they did explain it, which I think that's fine.
That's very Star Trek to just like say some techno babble.
We changed the IP address on our phasers. It's fine.
That's basically it.
Yeah. That's it. Well, and it's like, I feel like that's a very sci-fi, and anytime we've like touched on sci-fi things in this in our podcast too, like it's like there's a very sweet spot between like not explaining anything at all, and we're like, what the fuck is that? And over explaining, where it's like, okay, you don't need to give me the trigonometry. Just give me a sentence. And I think that was a good one where they're like, oh, if we do this now, but we're going to shoot him as much as we fucking want. And we're like, got it. Cool.
That's the exact line of dialogue.
Move on.
That was really good. I loved when
that was my data. It's pretty good, I thought. Shoot these motherfucks.
I have another technical thing, though, that I want to bring up in this episode. This was our first episode, I believe, after the costume redesign.
Oh, yep.
And
where they get the
shirt
collars.
tugging is off
where they
the
have
charts.
Tug the
And
shirts every
once
scene.
I noticed it, I could not stop noticing it. It was just me in a sweater that shrunk in the dryer for an entire 2-hour period.
Have you seen
it? Was just like every time he sat down. And I think Riker, I mean, I'm not trying to body shame anyone, but I think he's got a little bit of a Shatner-esque build to him. And might feel a little self-conscious about it as well. So you could tell, like, sometimes like I would watch his belly slowly suck in. And then the shirt tug would happen. Or every time they sat down, every time they got up, I thought it was just a Riker thing. And then Picard does it later on. I'm like, this is also a bad design costume. I'm sorry you guys didn't like the unitards, but this is ludicrous. It was out of control.
There is so much talk on like panels at conventions where cast members will just be like, oh, the costume.
They also looked itchy. They looked not natural fibers.
They're
so they
wool,
looked,
I think.
Ugh.
Yeah, so they're hot and itchy also. Apparently these are more comfortable than the onesies though, because the onesies were so tight that they like gave people back problems.
Jeez.
They looked pretty tight from what I could see.
They're tight as fuck. But like these are
and it's season 4. We've all put on a little bit. Let's be honest.
We've all been going to cast parties. We've all been going to Emmy Awards parties, I imagine.
Patrick Stewart's like, look, I'm not 51 anymore, okay?
They called that the Picard maneuver, though. They started calling the
shirt tug
stand up, tug down the shirt move, the
Amazing.
Picard maneuver.
It's like every time I play a wedding, I always have to just do this tie smooth. And then the best pull down, the tie smooth, and then I'm good to go.
The show ended both figuratively and literally on an eerie note, with Picard going out looking out his window, and then it was like, bum, bum, bum. I was like, I know this song, bum, 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 and held that. I was like, oh, this is off-putting and weird.
Yep.
So I'm assuming there's like some sort of trauma that he experiences from his experiences with the Borg.
Yeah.
And the Borg continue after this too. That's not the end of the Borg.
Oh, God,
No.
they're everywhere.
Okay.
This is like, I mean,
They're everywhere.
they're literally
the universe
everywhere.
is lousy with Borgs.
Yes, they're all over the place. So there then is I mean, there's more Borg in the series, and then there's an entire movie, an entire TNG movie
with a lady Borg. Is that not correct?
The Borg Queen, which fans are kind of mixed on whether she was a good idea.
Wow.
Take alert.
My parents said the same thing about me.
Oh, I'm
Is
so
that one of the good
That's
ones?
too sad.
With the Borg? Is that one good?
That one is good.
Which one is that one?
It's First Contact. And it is considered to be the best TNG movie, I think.
And it's Alice Cringe. What's her name?
Kring.
She's just getting a lot of good. She's in that new Gretel Hansel movie.
Oh yeah, Tyler went to see that.
Yeah, she plays the witch. She's like a cool actress, like a Tilda Swinton type of like eerily
South African.
Yeah.
She's very cool. I think she's an incredible actress, and I think she does a great job with the part. It was more that like she kind of like changed up the whole concept of the Borg. Like the Borg is supposed to be an autonomous collective, and then they bring in a queen, and then all of a sudden there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
Somebody made that Monty Python meme. Somebody made a Monty Python / Star Trek Borg meme where they did that whole scene from
a lot of nerd communities coming together.
That whole scene from Holy Grail where he's like, "I'm your king," and he's like, "We have a king? I thought we were an autonomous collective." And but they do it with anyway. It's like so many levels of nerd in that meme. And I sent that meme to a friend of mine by accident when I was trying to send it to Lauren. And
what a conversation
I never got it.
Oh, and my friend Kristen was like, she said she was like frantically Googling. And I was like, I am so sorry. I did not mean to send you like the most like awful like depths of nerd meme.
But I mean, if they're like bees, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. It makes sense. I'm not that committed to the Borg strata, though.
That was the idea behind giving them a queen, was that bees have.
And I'm sure in the nerd community it wasn't tied up in sexism at all. You don't have any of that.
Oh no!
where nerds have reacted like sexist pigs.
Yeah, give me one. Give me one example.
Can you give me any examples?
Yeah, but it did kind of just write themselves in a corner, though, for later stories. It kind of, like Larissa says, it kind of like changed the whole idea of the threat of them, and
it was
not necessarily for the better.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So and especially during Voyager when the Borg come back a lot more, because there's actually a main character who comes in like mid-series who is ex-Borg.
I think is she blonde and she has like little bits on her?
Yes.
Little robot bits?
Yes, she has little robot bits. She's and she's wearing it like a cat suit. That's very tight.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Also, not to just get tangentially, poor Deanna Troi in that little workout number the whole time.
The only deep cut V we've got. She's
Tyler saw her and he was like, "Oh, is that a new costume?" I'm like, no, this poor lady has been in this costume this entire time.
Yes, they don't put her in uniform until season 6.
Wow.
Like, it's dumb.
Does she get the standard uniform then?
Yes, she gets the blue uniform.
Okay.
Because she's a doctor.
Maybe she's constantly coming from, Pilates class or something.
So that's some sexism, actually.
I mean, in her defense, I haven't changed out of gym clothes since March 7th.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I'm not working out the whole time. Occasionally.
No. Every pair of pants I've worn in the past 5 months of it has that elastic around the middle.
I'm making bread. I can't have
you guys are wearing pants. That's how I feel.
Okay.
Not anymore.
DJ, I have a question for you, though.
Everyone take off your pants.
DJ, I was wondering if all the extra credit, if Lauren made you watch iBorg.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually the one I really wanted to pick for you guys, but we just decided we couldn't have all Borg episodes for you.
Right.
Yeah. But like, I actually...
Too many Borgs.
Too many Borgs. Inside joke. But if you liked Measure of a Man, for me, I feel like iBorg is kind of like the Borg version of that, where it's definitely more talky and stuff. But I was going to say to your fans and listeners, like a really good continuation one that's very Star Trekky is iBorg. And I was curious, Borg. DJ, if you liked that.
I liked it. My synopsis was the gang gets a pet Borg. I liked it. I do think, and it's possibly just because they had 2 episodes and more room to grow with it. I did like the Best of Both Worlds better.
Okay.
I think it was more interesting, like exploring Picard. Maybe just because it's Picard, like Larissa said earlier, is like we know this person and we're seeing them assimilated. We're seeing what that means, and it means something, Whereas the the Iborg, it was interesting. It was more of a thought experiment. They actually don't have, the organic material all comes from something that they've assimilated, which actually makes a lot of sense with Iborg. And I kind of wish it'd be interesting to rewatch with that context that I didn't really realize.
Yes.
Is Iborg before this episode?
No, it's after.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it also explores like Picard after this experience, Picard's reaction to what to do with this individual Borg after he's been assimilated and has experienced this trauma.
And Guinan
too, yeah.
Yeah.
Guinan's actually pretty hostile towards it too, which is a different thing for her.
Yeah. Iborg, I have a poster on my, you can't see it because I'm on a desktop. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can.
Of course you do.
It's right there. You see it?
Oh yeah.
That's Hugh right there. Yay, hi Hugh. Iborg is one of my favorite episodes too. It makes me cry a lot. Because I love Hugh so much.
I picked up on the Borg are just like whoever they picked up in the Best of Both Worlds episode. It would have been neat if they had more obvious aliens as Borgs, like less humanoid aliens.
Yeah.
That you could see were just whoever they found. And
they do that later on. Like,
yeah,
I feel like in the Borg beginnings, they were just like, how do we make them kind of scary zombies? And they weren't so much worried about those details, but like later in Voyager especially, you're like, oh, that's a Klingon, and
right, okay.
like, and that's a Romulan, and that's a Vulcan, and like you see like, but now they like have Borg implants and they've got white skin and shit, and they're scary.
Borgs,
yeah, Borgs.
Shall we
I also kind of want to call them Porgs half the time.
Porgs. Porgs, Pogs, Borgs.
I'm gonna see if anyone's photoshopped that. Borg.
I'm sure they have.
Actually, I think I follow a cartoonist on Instagram that did a Borg.
There is so much. I'll just let you guys.
And now it's porn. And now, let's be honest. It really
never go to the second page.
Never go to the second page.
Oh
so
my
we got
God.
Bjork, and Porg.
Yeah. Bjork, Bjorn, Porg.
Bjorn, Porg.
Pog.
Cupid. You're gonna have Damon. You're gonna have to recap this one because I clearly lost interest and did not recap it.
I am so excited.
So Cupid, we are introduced, at least in these 4 episodes we've watched, to Q, a character I found offensive in that he puts his shoes on every piece of furniture he finds. But we also meet a woman that Picard has a romantic history with, Vosh, who I had to keep looking up what they were saying because I just kept hearing Bosh, Posh, Rosh, Rosh. But she is I don't think she's that. Wait, hold on. Let's just stop, Damon. Stop. The Enterprise is hosting an archaeological summit. Is that the idea?
Yes.
And Vosh is there, even though she's maybe more of a fringe Tomb Raider, is the feeling I got from her. And while Picard is reuniting with this lost love, Q is there. Again, I put his boots on all the furniture, and decides that he's going to reconnect these two people in the middle of the archaeological summit where Picard is giving a speech, and takes Picard, Vosh, and the entire crew of the Enterprise and takes them to a simulation of merry old England with Robin Hood and his merry men. Which Worf, in his defense, specifically states he is not a merry man, which was the only line that I laughed out loud at. I'm not a merry man.
I rewound that part like 3 times.
I also took this as a direct reference to Robin Hood Men in Tights because Patrick Stewart plays King John, or not King John, Richard the Lionheart in Men in Tights.
That's right.
Right.
But this is dumb. episode. And so anyway, Picard has a lot of daring do. He buckles some swash. He saves Maid Marian, nay Vosh, from Guy of Gisborne and the Sheriff of Nottingham, who is Q. And to what end? I don't know, because Vosh eventually goes on adventures throughout the universe with Q, and everything's left to the status quo, except the fact that I have seared into my brain Picard's dress robes that he wore to his speech, they were like a sundress?
Like a scant.
With pants on?
Scant.
He looked like he could be wandering Broadway in Nashville, just like long pants under a sundress, giving a speech about archaeology. And I don't know what the point of all this was, except like, fuck it, we're doing a Robin Hood episode, was the feeling I got.
I think you
I was expecting for this. I looked this episode online to see like how people responded to it, and people tend to like it, which again blows my mind.
Well, and that's why I said this is kind of a wild card episode, because I really do feel like depending. I mean, like Keith, again, my husband, like he hates this episode, and I think it's just kind of a fun guilty pleasure, but it is ridiculous, and it seems like either you love it or you don't.
I feel like not to get to a review of it overall, but like I feel like I wanted them to go more in on it. Or stop it. Just stop. Because I feel like if they could have gone even higher camp or sillier or more actiony, like I would have been into it, or even just like more jokey. But it was just like sort of, well, we got a discount on these Robin Hood costumes. We'll have Worf smash a liar at some point.
Yes.
And,
I was going to bring up that. Worf
is the VIP in this episget.
Absolutely, yes.
This is like the only time I enjoyed Worf. He didn't
get a lot to do in the other episodes we watched. I think it was just the luck of the draw.
We didn't give you much Worf stuff.
There's a lot of cast in this to give us like everybody a spotlight.
It might also be that like we've actually talked about Worf on our podcast quite a bit in the past few episodes of ours. So maybe we were like
tune into that, everybody.
Not giving you much Worf. He just all of the silly jokey parts are my favorite parts of this episode, and I think a lot of Trekkies might agree with that. Like there are so many like GIFs and memes and stuff that are from this episode. It's that stuff is really fun. I do love how like all of a sudden, even though it's like super corny, all of a sudden just hats start appearing on people's heads. And my favorite moment is the turkey leg. Yes, Data just like holding up the fucking turkey leg. I laughed out loud then as well.
The turkey leg, I mean, that was a funny guy. I want to say while we're talking about Data, and this might be another watching a SD show on an HD TV, but his bald cap is one of the worst things I have ever seen. That is a terrible bald cap when he was Friar Tuck. It's like in 4 quadrants and you could see the seams. Oh, it's absolutely terrible.
I feel like I turned off the what is that? There's some kind of like motion smoothing thing. I turned that shit off on both of our TVs because I can't stand it. So maybe
your TV's too good, Damon.
Yeah, your TV's just too good.
I mean, there's like one shot when they're actually in the woods and I think natural light is hitting it. And I'm like, oh what is going on here?
I felt like I think this is basically the same as your point, Damon. Like I was a little bored by this, which I wasn't expecting because it's like, oh, it's a Robin Hood episode. That's fun. But it was just like, it wasn't, there were some moments, but it wasn't like funny enough to be funny. And it wasn't Star Trek-y nerdy enough to be interesting. You know what I mean? Because they were not like exploring anything.
And we're not learning anything about it's not like we learned like, oh, Jean-Luc Picard, he'll do the right thing all the time. It's not like I had to learn that. He's like, I'm going to save this woman who's been imprisoned. Yeah. Of course he's going to do that. I didn't understand what I was supposed to be getting out of this. Except that I have a feeling though, it's like we filmed 25 episodes of us in these terrible space costumes. Can I just have a little fun? And Jonathan Frakes is like, can I be John Little?
Yeah.
And I'll smirk while standing against this rod I carry.
I mean, I think also for me and probably for just like Star Trek fans in general, like I enjoy watching this episode because it seems like everyone's having a great time.
That's true. Yes.
It seems like everyone is like super excited to be in these costumes. It seems like they were giggling constantly. Like I just because also I don't know if you guys know this, but like the whole cast of this show are all actually very good friends, and they like if they weren't in quarantine right now, they'd be hanging out. You know,
I think they even hung out in quarantine, according to Jean-Luc's Instagram.
They had a like cute Zoom meeting. It was cute. But so they were always like goofing off on set anyway, and it just like imagining what that must have been like to shoot this episode. I fucking love it. I love like thinking about like everyone making fun of Michael Dorn. Everyone, I love thinking about like everyone being like, "Oh my God, LeVar Burton, those tights! Like, what is happening?" Like, just I love it. I just like love when people are wearing the most ridiculous costume ever. I love when like the most serious person is wearing the most ridiculous thing, who is Worf. Like Worf wearing that all red, like it's all bright red, like
Will Scarlet.
I know, it's incredible.
It only makes sense.
It's perfect. And he's so mad. It's great.
I have a sort of technical question. I think that Klingon's blood is supposed to be pink, but when Worf is injured, he has red blood. So I'm wondering if that's an after effect of Q's like hologram, or if that is a mistake on the crew's part and someone should have been fired.
It's a great question.
That's a great question.
Isn't it? I just remember in Star Trek 6, there's like a bloodbath of Klingons, and there's like Pepto-Bismol floating all around. And then when I saw his arm, I was like, "That's wrong. I know that's wrong."
I don't know why they did it. Why did they do that?
They had to do it because of the rating. If it was going to be red blood, it was going to hike up the rating. So they were like, if you colorize it, then
in Star Trek 6 it was.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the scene where it's like the blood's floating in zero gravity.
Yeah.
If it changed the color, then it took the rating down.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ratings are stupid.
Ratings. I mean, even when I was like very queasy about movie gore, I don't think like red blood, like coming out of nowhere, like not out of a body or anything, would have bothered me.
No, that's
like
not the scary thing. Blood coming out of a person is the scary thing.
Yeah. And intestines
it's like
coming
the
out
difference between reality and if it's like colored blood, it's still fictional. I think that's how they view it for the ratings.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Don't care.
That was Nancy Reagan 100%.
Like Pepto-Bismol flowing through their veins.
That's scarier. Just
definitely, absolutely terrifying. Ooh, Beverly Crusher and Picard. What's going on?
Aww.
Thank you, DJ.
No, but they're not. So, Lauren, do you want to?
I mean, they have a history. I think Picard's kind of involved with the death of her first husband because Damon sits up.
He killed him.
Wesley's dad.
Yeah, Wesley's dad because Picard had, I think, to give the order, which results in Wesley's father dying, and so so it turns out
they were also best friends too.
Yes,
like
the three of them, the two Crushers and Picard, were really good friends to begin with when they were all younger, and so they have feelings for each other, and they just never quite get together. But yeah, there's always that kind of like underlying feeling that they're into each other. The very last episode, which is sort of time travel again. They do mention in this version of the future that they get married and then they get divorced, but they never, the series ends like they never get together. And in fact, Picard never gets together with any of his romantic interests because they wanted to make sure he was available for the movies in case they wanted to have some sort of romance with the next gen movies. So that's why he's constantly available, and none of these relationships really work out for him. Larissa, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I mean, that's really it. It's sad. I mean, I think Bev and Jean-Luc belong together.
No, I was totally into it when the reason I ask for the listeners who didn't watch the episode is that he's hanging out with Vosh when Beverly Crusher comes to the door for morning tea, and he's like, "Sometimes I have tea with Dr. Crusher."
My cute little blue sweater.
Yeah,
very 90s cowl neck sweater.
I love all her sweaters.
Yeah, because so they have breakfast together, and it's cute. Yeah,
but she this was also going back to our earlier discussion about women on the show. It was I was expecting, because I have been trained by television all my life, that they will then fight or hate each other, or just seethe and sort of say passive aggressive things. And I think she's startled that there's a woman there, but that's it. And then she takes her on a friendly tour of the ship.
I think even beyond that, she's like, "Ooh, you know stuff about Jean-Luc that I don't know. Let's talk."
Yeah, let's dish.
Compare notes.
Yes. There are a lot of, I mean, specifically writing for women in these ways, there are a lot of evolved moments like that. There are also like a lot of evolved male-female friendships and relationships on this show in particular that I feel like I've learned a lot from in my own life, like Riker and Troy's relationship, which we don't really see in any of these episodes. They
have a conversation. I can't remember. It was one of the episodes they have a conversation together. I think it's
it's like the opening of Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why am I still here?"
Yeah. But they're best friends, but also they make out sometimes, but also they sleep with other people.
Sounds like college.
Yeah, but also like
life on a cruise ship.
Nobody's jealous. Yeah, true. But like nobody's jealous. No, there's no will they, won't they. There's no like it's not weird, and there's no drama. Like it's just like we care about each other, but like also I might want to sleep with someone else sometimes, and it's fine.
Because when you're William Riker,
you just
and you're oozing.
When you sit on chairs like that, you can have whoever you want.
It is amazing. The way that he sits at a chair is pretty amazing.
Also, I don't know if I noticed this, and I can't imagine. I feel like I might have dreamed this, but at some point, I think first off, I also want to say, so Beverly Crusher comes down for morning tea, then she takes Vosh on a tour of the ship, and they're at a bar, and she's like, "You want a drink?" And I'm like, "What time is it?" We can't just be having croissants and drinking a pint.
Yeah,
it could be a mimosa.
Also, she doesn't ask her what.
But
she
Riker
wants.
is
she
at
just
the bar
says, "Do you want a drink?" Yeah, true.
I guess we should explain those, like the fact that their alcohol doesn't contain, like they have synth ale and all these alcoholic drinks where they don't get you drunk. So
yeah.
Oh, so you just get to enjoy the taste of beer?
Yeah, which like fuck that. Like I want my alcohol.
A ship full of O'Douls.
I'm drinking poison for a reason. Give me the poison.
Guidance got real alcohol behind the bar, but you can have it if you ask for it. But everyone's being responsible because they're all potentially on call all the time.
And this is a utopic future race of people who are responsible.
Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to mention, at one point, it seems like Vosh's earrings trail down into a necklace.
Yes.
And then I was like, I think her earrings are doubling as a necklace to Tyler. And then in the next scene, she's not wearing it anymore.
It's true. Yeah. It's earrings, necklace. And
I'm imagining that. I imagine that looks cool, but now I'm like thinking of like you bend over something and it hooks onto your necklace, pulls your earrings out.
Yeah. My first thought after cool is ow.
And I feel like the weight of it dangling straight down seems a bit much on your poor earlobes.
Quite heavy. I mean, I would say aside from that piece of jewelry, in general, Vosh's outfits are very sleek, but also very like 90s businesswoman.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's some double-breasted suits going on.
And the like dark but sheer tights.
Yes.
Like, and the like smallish, like medium-sized heel with the pointy toe. It looks like my mom's outfit from 1993 that she wore to the office.
Oh, we didn't mention it, but me and Tyler were very into the sleepwear of the Enterprise.
Oh.
In the Vosh episode.
Anytime Picard is wearing a low-cut V.
And barely anything covering his hips and his nether regions.
And tiny shorts.
Oh,
also,
very
like
tiny.
teensy little shorts. I just love it. Like
He's
Captain's Holiday also, right? He's the first episode with Vosh when he's like laying out on a beach chair with his chest all open. I sent you that, right, Lauren? That's an image where somebody photoshopped Picard's face onto his chest in a tessellation.
Yes. And he has like really, he has like silver metallic Speedo-esque things. They aren't like Speedos, but they're those like really short European.
Oh, like those boy short cut, just like a rectangle almost.
Yes. It's glorious.
He has Patrick has a very like young Sean Connery body.
Yeah,
it's like svelte. It's like
I think he's leaner than Connery. He's like a lean fella.
I mean,
but
like
not
early,
muscular, but very
early Connery. Not like Girdle later episode or later Bond movies where they're like, oof.
It's just
not Last Crusade Connery.
I wish.
So much tweed.
I actually too have noticed the whole pajama thing in Star Trek, like all of them. But one of the things I love is that whenever it's an alien in pajamas, like Worf, he is in like full pajamas. I think that's to like hide the fact that he's only wearing like Klingon,
right.
Or if you have like
have anything else aside from the forehead ridge?
I guess they don't. But
they have
bifurcated pain.
Yep, they have two
like
dicks.
A snake's tongue.
I mean, I just picked them, but yeah, like there's all these alien species where it's like they have gray paint, and so that they have to be covered from the neck to the wrist, and it's like
we're not going to dip you in a vat of paint just for this one scene.
Exactly, but it's kind of funny because they look like they're in like what 8-year-olds wear on Christmas morning or something.
Worf, come down.
It's totally true.
I'm imagining like bunny slippers as well.
Mm-hmm. There are, and Lauren and I have talked about this quite a bit actually, there are lots of metallic-y fabrics used in like the civilian clothing and also in the bedding on this show. Like there are lots
sheets.
Of like sparkly space blankets.
That's how you know it's the future. We figured out a way to make sheets out of metal.
I feel like that's Frakes. That's got to be Frakes. He seems like a silk sheet guy. Am I right?
Oh, totally. At least,
probably.
I mean, maybe not Frakes, but definitely William Riker.
Yes. William the Riker.
Oh, I think we all know what that sound means. It's time for the verdicts. Okay, so my inclination would be to ask our guests what their verdict is, but I think this is
not really fair.
It's a moot point. You're obviously super fans of this, but do you have anything that you would like to say?
I will just say we do recognize that there are episodes that aren't good. Like we don't just take the whole it's wonderful. So
yes, absolutely.
I'll just say that I'm excited but also terrified of this moment. To see if you think we're just wasting our time.
No. I mean we do spend a lot of time on our podcast just ripping the thing that we love to shreds. So
I think that. Yeah, I think
we're ready. I'll just say I'm ready for the.
Yeah. Damon, what do you think? Do you want to go first?
Lauren's not ready.
Lauren's not ready.
No, DJ, you go first.
Okay. Well,
see that?
Oh, Jesus, it's even worse. Okay, so I watched a lot of episodes. I've said that, and I'm not bragging. I'm saying I feel like I've got a pretty good context. Like a lot of times, how many seasons of this? 7 seasons of this, 20 something episodes per season. Like watching 4 episodes is really hard. I mean, that's the hard thing about doing a series is like, well, we have limited time. We can't always binge and sometimes we don't want to binge like the whole thing. We try to get a smattering, and I think you guys did a great job of selecting episodes. So thank you for putting so much time and thought and into like trying to pick not just the best episodes, but something that would give us an actual overview of what the show is like. And that's what we're doing. Is we're like, should you revisit this as an adult if it was important to you as a kid? That's kind of the basic concept, right? And so
I feel like this is stalling for time.
This is a podcast, right? I'm speaking into a mic and I'm talking to you I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to the audience listening home. I'm just explaining basic
like a radio
concepts.
show, but you can listen to it whenever you want.
Anytime you want. You can pause it and go watch the show and then come back. So I think there's a lot to complain about. Some of it is just like a little unfair because it is a show from the 80s and 90s, like the production value, the stunts, the stuff that I totally complained about. And I think it's fair to complain about, but it's also like you can't really dock points for it because it's like this was when the show came out. Deal with it. But the concepts they explore are really interesting to me. Like and if you like, I mean, if you're inclined to like Star Trek, this is about as Star Trek as it gets. You know what I mean? And I don't mean in the sense that, I mean in the sense
the platonic form of Star Trek.
I really do. I mean, it's not the original, but it's also like I think they hit the stride more than the original series does, and I know that's, I'm sure, a bone of contention in the Trekkie circles. But like, I've seen a fair amount of the original series, and I've seen all of the movies with Damon when he did his godforsaken project to watch all of the original series movies. And I feel like this kind of does take it to another level of like really getting into those deeper themes, exploring interesting things. And it is the geekiest shit I've seen in a long time. Like, and I don't mean in the sci-fi which I'm like all about. I'm that kind of geek, but the like all of the characters are dorks. You know what I mean? Not just the actors, which I don't know about, but I'm just saying like Riker's a dork, Picard's a dork. They're dorky in different ways. Worf, who's like this big clown word, is like the dorkiest one of all of them. And
yeah, but they're all. This is why I like it.
No, I think
because they're all just like excellent at their jobs. They're super nerds. They're very good at what they do, and it's just about a bunch of people in a ship flying around being very good at their nerdy jobs.
Right. And I think that actually adds to the charm of it, honestly, is like them, because like you see Worf in his like intimidating Klingon thing, and he's like, they keep talking about him like he's a great fighter, but he's terrible in every fight. He gets his ass kicked almost every single time. And I love that. I don't think that was their overall intent. I don't think they did it to undercut his character, but it totally does. But I love that because you're like, this fucking guy has a deep voice and sucks at fighting. You know what I mean? Which is okay, you know. So
he's like 6'5".
Yes, he's enormous. Yeah. I never want to watch this show again. I am just
thinking of your wife.
I watched
what a turn.
So much of this. It's like, I love mashed potatoes, right? But if you have like, there's a certain amount of mashed potatoes that you eat where you're just like, you can't even close your mouth anymore. You're just like, nah, nah, nah. That's how much Star Trek: The Next Generation I've watched this week. However, I think it's fine. I think it's great. I think if you liked it as a kid, you're not going to come back and be like, what was I thinking? I think you're going to appreciate things that you didn't appreciate, like me as a kid, where I was like, why are they talking so much? Because it's fucking interesting, little DJ. That's why. Because the action is stupid. So why don't you watch them? Why don't you watch them talk about interesting philosophical things and explore sci-fi stories? Because them doing flips off the bridge isn't going to do you any favors. So that's what I think.
Sounds like you over-caffeinated on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I did.
Like,
I really...
It's fine. I just had too much all at once.
Exactly.
On the other side, I watched the episodes we agreed to watch, and then I just let it play. And then I was like, I don't have to watch
in
this
between
one,
the
but
episodes.
I'm
Just
gonna
keep
watch
going.
it anyway.
To contradict myself a little, if we came back and I like later watch an episode or a couple of episodes, I think I'd be fine. But like the binge, I don't think it's, for me, it's not a bingeable show. I think if you're super into it, I'm sure it is. But like that's kind of my own experience. Your inner child is not an idiot. Damon, what do you think?
Hi, thank you. The two shows that I kept thinking about while I was
had
watching
a lot to say. I'm sorry.
The two shows I kept thinking about when we were watching this was Law and Order and The West Wing were the two shows I kept like coming back to because they both like are this sort of utopian, sort of geeky utopian idea. Like Law and Order is like, well, you know, this guy shot up this country club, but instead of just prosecuting the guy, I'm also going to prosecute the gun manufacturers. And like this idealized like idea of an assistant DA. And then The West Wing is like an idealized idea of a democratic presidential administration.
Yes,
and it's
also
like this
ensemble casts.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
Everyone is good at their job.
Where it's like competency porn.
Job.
Yes, it is competency porn. Oh
wow, look
my
at
God, it's
in that data. But I think, and this like goes to show, this is like a little glimpse into my mental health of the past 3 years. Utopian, idealized like platforms like this have very little mileage with me of late, where like through the lens of the Trump administration, this idea of like things are only getting better. One day we're going to get rid of money. We're going to get rid of the death penalty. We're going to be flying around in space. We're going to make peace with the Klingons. You don't know who they are yet, but we're going to work it out. It's just like, no, we're not. We're just a bunch of fucking idiot animals, and we're just going to fight each other, and we're going to elect a game show host to be our president. But kids in cages, for Christ's sake. So, like, if you had me watch Star Trek The Next Generation on, like, November 6th, 2016, I'd be like, this is great! But now there's like a sourness, like when I watch these type of shows where I'm like, oh, you have no idea what's coming. That I find like dispiriting in a weird way. That being said, even though that got really dark, Your Inner Child is not an idiot. This is a fun show. And I think if you liked it as a kid, you would like it now. I have a feeling, I don't think I want to watch anyone more right now. But I have a weird itch. Break,
okay?
I have a weird itch that I think I would probably scratch with some more Next Generation, like in the future. It's just sitting there on Netflix. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Just watch that.
I'll tell you what this does make me want to do. Not to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. It makes me want to listen again to the episodes of your podcast that I haven't listened to. And it makes me want to read Wikipedia entries of episodes.
Yep.
Finally, something to get you to read Wikipedia. But
so
yeah,
like
no,
all of my hobbies.
Right. This is a very good show. It just has its cheesy moments.
Yes. Sometimes I just, first of all, I want to say I'm so relieved.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of shocked. Like we got through. Like,
woo!
First of all, you're both putting way too much weight on what we think.
We're fans.
I can't.
We are fans.
We're fans of your podcast, and I pay you guys. So maybe that's why.
We are.
That's
the
why I gave it a good
Edos
vote. I don't know about you,
civilization.
TJ.
I will say as another like compliment to Star Trek that and also maybe in a way a compliment to myself.
Yes. Work that in.
Sometimes I will rewatch an episode and remember it very clearly from my childhood, like from when I was like 8, and be like, how did you understand this?
Yeah.
When you were 8? Like, why did you like this when you were 8? Like, what was wrong with you?
I do think it works. Not to say you weren't a super intelligent 8-year-old. I'm sure you were, but like it also, I do think it works on multiple levels because there is like the crazy alien shoot 'em up level, which, you know, my 8-year-old self would have been all about. I don't know about yours. Maybe you were into the cerebral aspect, but I would have been like, stop talking and shoot some phasies, you know? More sauce sepping and phasey shooting, you know what I mean?
Phasies. I was like, I want to like hang out with Data.
Right.
Like, I want to talk to Data you know, like that episode where there's that kid that wants to be Data.
There's more than one episode like that.
Oh, yeah, there's more than one episode where there's a child that wants to be an android.
A Data super fan?
Yep. Or like I want to like hang out in a sick bay with Beverly Crusher and like.
Of all the places on the Enterprise to hang out, like you don't want to hang out at the bar, you want to hang out in the sick bay?
Lauren can back me up on this.
Sick bay is where it's at.
I try to pull her out, but I'm going to be at 10 forward, I guess.
The episode with their latest episode, I literally was like, sick bay seems like the cool place to hang out.
When I was in college, we actually went to the airport. This was pre 9/11. We went to the airport to hang out. And now I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with you?
Like it's the mall or something?
Like we went and we pretend a bunch of our, like it was like 6 of us and we all pretended to be couples. And so we would like walk around the airport and like get in fights, like fake fights with our significant other. And we would like, it was the dumbest thing ever, but it was also like you intentionally went to the airport. Anyway, this reminds me of your sick bay love. We're all a little twisted in different ways, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true. I also want to say that I took it as a compliment. You saying that this is some of the nerdiest shit that you've ever watched. I appreciated that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% a nerd. I'm not like, it's not a judgment. It's so much as
this is a special kind of nerd.
Yeah. It's one of those things too,
though.
where like, I love sci-fi and I like comic books, but when you meet someone who really likes sci-fi or like really like comics, you're like, oh, it's like somebody who likes music who talks to me. They're like, oh, you like are obsessed with me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a different level.
Back there.
Yeah. I was talking about the radio. I like we're listening to the radio. Can we? Hey, what do you think, everybody? Call us 615-576-0525. Leave a voicemail. You can text that number too. I just realized. So go ahead and do that. You can. A little nervous about
we're millennials. We don't like phone calls.
Yeah, you can email us yourinnerchildisanidiot@gmail.com. Let's see. You can find us on all the things, the Twitter and the other stuff. What are the other ones, Damon? You know them.
TikTok, you got WhatsApp, you know, that one that's run by the Chinese government. You could probably use that one too.
I think that's TikTok.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good God, they're going to get clips of all of us dancing.
We'd like to thank our patrons, including Captain Jean-Luc Picard,
the supreme ruler of this podcast.
Brandon Hardy.
His Honor the Mayor. His Honor the Mayor.
Yeah, that was it. His Honor the Mayor.
That was it.
Primordial Burrito.
Christine in Brooklyn.
Diamond's Australian accent.
Better than my actual Australian accent.
I think I got your name right. The rest of it was terrible.
Dan McIntyre.
Dramatically placed hot dog.
Jacob Grimm.
The Zesty.
Jeremy Powlin.
Jonathan Day.
It feels like we're teaching people how to read. we're going like in this very deliberate
I'll make it closer.
Joshua Nicholson.
This was maybe a bad idea. I'm so sorry.
Just cuz.
Karen Kurd.
Do we need a drum roll for this next one? Larissa Maestro.
It's me.
Lindsay Nell.
Little Flick.
The end.
Wait, what?
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Mine had stopped.
You just cut out those two people. You're just like, absolutely not.
Screw you, other people. So wait, what did you say? Was it Little Flick?
Little Flick, yeah.
Sorry, on mine it cut off.
You're just done. Nah. Sorry, T. Smith. Go to hell.
T. Smith.
And Kevin from Cleveland. Thank you all very much for being our supporters. We really appreciate it. You're helping us keep the lights on, pay our Squadcast bill so we can have these wonderful guests. Thank you, most importantly, to Larissa and Lauren from Into the Wormhole. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Guys.
Really.
And listen to Into the Wormhole. It's even I, who only has a tangential knowledge of Star Trek, have really enjoyed the ones I've listened to. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
I think
wherever quality podcasts are sold.
I will add
yes
that there actually is another Star Trek podcast called Into the Wormhole.
Okay.
No.
So we
You're
are
gonna have to change your name to Satellite of Love.
We're technically Into the Wormhole with Larissa and Lauren.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you look us up, then yeah, the full title will kind of get you to us.
I think I would like to hear everyone's Picard to play us out. Please.
Picard impression?
Yes, please. Make it so, but that's mine. It sounds. It's a little
you
bit.
get into like a Southern Sean Connery.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Make it so.
Yeah. Make it so.
Make it so.
And then make it fancy.
Number one.
That's good.
Engage.
Wait, wait. Hold on, I have a stupid quote from him. I was hoping we would learn more about it.
This is very specific. I actually have I have a couple of quotes from the first one. Let me see if I can find it.
Or what is the one where he's like, why does everything have to be a
Yes,
whatever? Or something?
exactly.
Yeah.
Why does everything become a something or whatever?
That was not. Yes. What was that episode?
I loved that one.
Was that Data? Was that the Data episode?
It was
That's the Justice episode, the very first one.
Something or whatever.
When they see the speech.
So
He's
funny.
so grumpy in that one.
Please organize it into brief answers to my questions. I like that.
You're babbling.
You're babbling.
Find us in the collective at intothewormhole.show, on Instagram at intothewormhole.podcast. Into the Wormhole is brought to you by We Own This Town. 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 Town.